Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan paced the floor, frantic with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stayed up all night wondering what happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning, but he didn't. Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their dear son with them. I'll never scold Sylvester again, said Mrs. Duncan, no matter what he does. At dawn they went about inquiring with all the neighbors. They talked to all the children, the puppies, the kittens, the colts, the piglets. No one had seen Sylvester since the day before yesterday. They went to the police and could not find their child. All the dogs in Oaksdale went searching for him. They sniffed behind every rock, tree, and blade of grass, into every nook and gully of the neighborhood and beyond, but found not a scent of him. They sniffed the rock on Strawberry Hill, but it smelled like a rock. It didn't smell like Sylvester. After a month of searching the same places over and over again and inquiring the same animals over and over again, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan no longer knew what to do. They concluded that something dreadful must have happened and that they would probably never see Sylvester again, though all the time he was only a half-mile away. They tried their best to be happy, to go about their usual ways, but their usual ways involved Sylvester, and they were always reminded of him. They were miserable, and life had no meaning any more. Night followed day, and day followed night, over and over again. Sylvester on the hill woke up less and less often. When he was awake, he was hopeless and unhappy. He felt like he would be a rock forever, and he tried to get used to it. He went into an endless sleep, and the days grew colder. Fall came, with the leaves changing color, and the leaves fell, and the grass bent to the ground. Then it was winter. The winds blew this way and that. It snowed mostly. The animals stayed indoors, living on the food they stored up. And one day, a wolf sat on the rock that was Sylvester and howled because he was hungry. Then the snow melted and the earth warmed up in the spring sun, and things budded. Leaves were on the trees again, and flowers showed their young faces. And one day in May, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan went to have a picnic. Let's cheer up, he said. Let's try to live happy again. Even though Sylvester, our angel, is no longer with us. They went to Strawberry Hill. Mrs. Duncan sat on the rock. The warmth of his own mother sitting on him woke Sylvester from his deep winter sleep. How he wanted to shout, "Mother, Father, it's me, Sylvester. I'm right here." But he couldn't talk. He had no voice. He was stone dumb. Mr. Duncan walked aimlessly while Mrs. Duncan set out a picnic of food on the rock. Alfalfa sandwiches, pickled oats, sassafras salad, Timothy compote. Suddenly Mr. Duncan saw the red pebble. "What a fantastic pebble!" he exclaimed. Sylvester would have loved it for his collection. He put the pebble on the rock. They sat down to eat, and Sylvester was now wide awake, as if a donkey that was a rock could possibly be. Mrs. Duncan felt some mysterious excitement. "You know, Father," she said suddenly, "I have the strangest feeling that our dear Sylvester is still alive and not far away." I am," Sylvester wanted to shout, but he couldn't. If only he had realized that the pebble was resting on his back was the magic pebble. "Oh, how I wish that he were here with us on this lovely May day," said Mrs. Duncan. Mr. Duncan looked sadly at the ground. "Don't you wish it too, Father?" she said. He looked at her as if to say, "How can you ask such a question?" Mr. and Mrs. Duncan looked at each other with great sorrow. "I wish I were myself again. I wish I were the real self again," said Sylvester. And in a minute he was. You can imagine the scene that followed. The embraces, the kisses, the questions, the answers, the loving looks, and the fond exclamations. When they had eventually calmed down a bit and had gotten home, Mr. Duncan put the magic pebble in an iron safe. Some day they might want to use it, but really for now, what more could they wish for? They had all that they wanted. The end.